Hey guys, it's JC. I'm back with a new video, actually changing things up again. I know I said on my last video that was happening. I'm going to start trying to post maybe Monday or Tuesday, beginning of the week. And so we're going to do that this week. It may change next week. I don't know what's going on with my head or my life right now, but I was actually really excited to jump into this one because I had already planned kind of a part 2 to the lies we believe. And guys, the more I started thinking about it and building on it, I realized this has got to be a series, not just 2-part. It's something I talk a ton about in my podcast. And it applies to health, food, dieting, body image, but also life, marriage, relationships, work, relationships. You can almost take this and spin it any way you need to, depending on what you're dealing with. But we're going to do a series. And so I am also going to link in the description box below. I have like 10 podcasts I could find on this same subject. So if you want to go deeper, I'm going to show you exactly which ones you can listen to kind of get more on this. I realized it wasn't really on my channel a whole lot. And this, for me, is a key to transformation. Whether we're trying to transform our diet or our body image, or whether we're truly trying to transform our mental health, whatever it is, we've got to get inside our heads. And so that last video, and again, I'll link this one, the last one below is part 1, was on the lies we believe, to get us to start thinking about perhaps areas and places where we've been lied to by the enemy, by the adversary, who hates us, wants to mess with us, wants to get in our head. And I threw out a challenge for you to just start thinking about, are there places where I've been believing lies and where I have not let the Lord give me the discernment I need to break free from that? I've been just living in it, embracing it, believing it. I'm wondering, I'd love to hear in the comments, what have you come up with? What success have you had in coming up with a list? Has it been a short one? And that's okay. Like I said, mine was super long, but I've been at this for a lot of years. And sometimes it takes a little while to unearth the lies that are just weaving their way quietly into the back of our head. But as I thought about this, I thought, okay, huge big step to begin to ask ourselves that question. What lie am I believing? But the next layer to that assesses not just what the adversary is whispering to us, not just what Satan is quietly, trying to tell us in our back of our heads. There are a lot of voices shouting for our attention and to be believed as truth. There's a lot of voices out there that are saying, this is how what you should believe. This is how it should be done. This is the truth. This is the way, coming from every direction. TV episodes and experts and books and, oh my gosh, everything on social media, articles, news reports that says studies have found and so obviously you're supposed to believe it because it was on the evening news. Or how about conversations with friends where they're like, well, this is what I heard and so it must be true. Information coming from every side, from a lot of seemingly trusted experts. So if we're going to assess the workings of our mind, if we're going to begin to peel back the layers, number 1, look at maybe some lies that have made their way in there. The next question I want you to ask yourself is, and it's probably a series of questions, more than just one. Who am I listening to? And not just listening to, but believing. Who am I listening to? Let me give you some other questions to kind of spin that. Where did I write it down? Who am I listening to? How do I filter what I hear? Do I believe it if the person has credentials behind their name? If they've written a book? Oh, that must be true. If it comes from a doctor or from an expert? Is there any filter in me, any discernment from all these things I'm hearing? What is my personal filter to help me discern if what I'm hearing is truth or error? Now, some of them I could say, okay, we're trying to be vigilant to filter out the lies, right? But I'm also talking about another category in this video. Ideas or prospects or concepts that are presented to us that may be truth for someone else, but that is not to be true for me. Like if I took it to the Lord, prayed about it, and the Lord would say, you know what, that one does not fit your life. Let me give you an example that I heard just this week. And I thought, oh my gosh, I've never thought about it that way. I have done a video on intermittent fasting. I'll link it below if you want. I just had a take on it, and it was a while ago. It's probably a year ago. And some very profound science behind that and how I was in support of it. But then I was on one of my favorite Instagram sites on thyroid and autoimmune. And again, I'll link that below too, in case you're like, wait. It's just a really, really good, seeming, again, expert that you will have to filter to see if it's truth for you. I'm not saying everything that's on that site is true either for you. But it's a doctor. He presented a perspective on intermittent fasting. He said a lot of the thyroid patients and autoimmune patients I work with have tried intermittent fasting and it wrecked them because their body was not prepared for it. And I started thinking about how all this information comes at us. All these voices screaming, this is good, do this will be perfect for your health. This is how you lose weight. This is what you need to eat. And intermittent fasting has been on that stage with spotlights on it. And I've seen 1,000 videos on it and I've even made one. But then suddenly I was like, wait, but someone that's listening to my video could be saying, oh yeah, that sounds so good. But what if their body is not in a state where intermittent fasting will help it, but will hurt it, like he was talking about with some of his patients? How are we filtering even information from my channel, even information from Christian-based sources, even information from good people that you love and trust? How are we filtering it to know whether it's something that should be embraced and brought in to my life as a truth that I'm going to begin to pursue and do and believe or not? How do I even know a source is trustworthy? How do I decide? And maybe we haven't ever thought about that. I have a whole podcast episode just on this. Well, who am I listening to? That just kind of makes us step back for a minute and go, I was very naive in my early years. If it came from a doctor or a news report or something credible where it was like, oh yeah, they should know what they're talking about, I would believe it. This food is bad for you. This food is... But if you think about it, the crazy thing is I'm old enough now to know everything they were feeding us in the 80s and 90s about fat makes you fat and don't eat eggs, they're terrible for you, and don't eat this and don't... It's pretty much completely flipped. They're absolutely turning it all upside down and going, none of that was right. Now it's this. But back then, it was all the highest and most regarded experts, the government, like recommendations, everything was coming from kind of the best of the best. And so a lot of us were like, okay, I guess maybe eggs have too much cholesterol. Even though God made eggs and has made them on this earth for thousands of years for people to subsist on, we just took that and ran with it and we're like, all right, I'll just cut back and buy those weird powdered things without the yolks or powdered eggs, or I'll do egg whites. And again, I don't know what your truth is that works for your body, but I didn't filter it back then. Oh, fat makes me fat. Okay, eat more carbs is what we started doing. And then that blew up in our face. And so now we've got a whole new realm of science. Dairy is terrible for you and this and that. And again, for your body, that might be your truth. But are you trying to listen to all these voices with a God-sized filter? With the Holy Spirit as your guide to go, okay, wait, stop. I heard that news article. I heard that conversation with that friend. I read that book. It was pretty convincing. But is it true for me? Am I filtering? Again, it may not be a lie necessarily, but if it's not a truth that will bless my body and my life, it's not going to help me heal. But if I still take it in and begin acting on it, then my problems are going to continue to spiral, right? So first video, we're assessing the lies. We're just trying to look at that. Second video, we're asking ourselves, how do I process all the information? Do I take it to the Lord? Do I filter everything I've heard, no matter how reputable the source, no matter how faith-based the source even? Some of the things that person, faith-based, Christian, whatever, may be teaching, maybe for a lot of people. But if we're not careful, the Lord may say, oh, wait, no, not you. That one won't fit you. Your body has this, or your metabolism is like this, or your genetics are like this, not that one. He alone knows. So it's taking the time to assess that new diet, assess that new eating plan, that keto plan that we've had so many and we'll have 1,000 more in the next 5 years that come out. Oh no, it's this. Is it for you though? Is it for you? I was thinking of Matthew 15, verse 9, where it talks about teachings for doctrines, the commandments of men. We act as if it's doctrine, but it's actually the commandment of men. If we're not careful, and again, yes, the Lord works through these principles sometimes, but if we're not careful, we will take something that is strictly come from the world of men that does not or is not going to help our health at all, and we'll take it as a doctrine. That's the King James. I was looking in some of the other translations. The NIV says that phrase, their teachings are merely human rules. They're merely human rules. So how careful are we? Are we just taking human rules in? I was talking to some patients. I really don't want to get into my views too much because, again, my view may fit you and may not. And so I'm going to stay really vague. But there's a medication that people have been taking for like decades and millions and millions and millions of people. And a lot of the science is starting to show that it does a lot of damage and doesn't fix the problem it's prescribed to fix. But a lot of doctors aren't staying up on that, and the pharmaceutical companies are not educating on that. And so I've had several conversations with patients about like, oh, have you ever kind of prayed about that? Maybe you shouldn't take, and I've had that answer like, no, well, my doctor said I have to take that. I'm like, okay, but your doctor isn't God. The doctor is a good resource from God, but we need to have that discernment to pray. Is it a rule of men that men have come up with through the channels that they communicate with us and say, this is what you have to do to avoid that health problem? Is it merely human rules? The NLV translation translates that same phrase, teaching for doctrines, the commandments of men. NLV says they teach what men have made up. So it takes it even one step farther. Okay, I hope you're getting the idea. It goes along with a concept that I talked about a lot on my podcast. So if you've watched my podcast, I'm starting to lose my voice. I'm sorry, I've been sick. I'm actually better, but it's just still kind of froggy, so I'm sorry. If you've watched my podcast or listened to my podcast a lot, you've heard this. But if not, I'm going to use this quote because, again, I need to have it on my channel because this is a core element of the process we're talking about. To assess how the core beliefs got inside of us. Where did our core beliefs come from? Did we filter them through the right lens, through a sense of discernment with the help of the Lord? Or did they just make it into our belief system and they're not helping us at all? In fact, they're probably hurting our health, keeping us from true health, the way that the Lord would have us heal or not. So the idea is unlearning. This is the time where we begin to unlearn some of the things that we've believed for a very long time that the Lord's finally going to go, okay, I'm glad you asked me. No, for you, intermittent fasting would not work. Or for you, intermittent fasting is going to be the magic bullet or whatever it is to unlearn our old truths that perhaps came from sources that may have seemed reputable at the time, but were not true for us, and to let the Lord teach us the truth for our body. This is a quote from Andrew Murray, who I adore. He's a Scottish pastor who lived in the late 1800s, early 1900s. His book, The Practice of God's Presence, I have so dog-eared and marked up. But I've used this quote before. I'm on my podcast. I have to have it here. Here we go. He says, I need water and I didn't get any. Unlearning is often the most important part of learning. Wrong impressions, prejudices, and beliefs are obstacles in the way of learning. See, when we're trying to heal our health, we're not just trying to learn new things. Sometimes the key is in unlearning the lies, unlearning the things that don't apply to us, retaking our health back to the Lord to go, okay, how should I be looking at this? Those beliefs, false beliefs, are obstacles in the way of learning. Until these have been removed, the teacher labors in vain. The knowledge he communicates only touches the surface. Deep under the surface, the pupil is guided by what has become second nature to him. The first work of the teacher is to discover and make the pupil see and remove those hindrances. Now the paragraph I really love. Here we go. There can be no true and faithful learning about Christ when we are not ready to unlearn. And I would add, there can be no true and faithful healing to our health until we are ready to unlearn. By heredity, by education, by tradition, by government studies, by news reports, by Dr. Oz TV shows, by all of these avenues, by social media articles, we have established thoughts about religion and God's word, and I would add the health journey, dieting, food, all of that, thoughts that are often great hindrances to our learning the truth. To learn of Christ requires a willingness to subject every truth we hold to his inspection for criticism and correction. Okay, this is kind of a long video, but I wanted that idea out there to kind of build on. If you're still toying around with that list of lies you believe, deepen it now, deepen it. To ask yourself, who am I listening to and how am I filtering all the things that I'm hearing in terms of the truth that is right for me? What do I need to unlearn before I can relearn the true journey that will take me to true health? And only the Lord knows what is right for you. He may lead you to certain experts. I've said that before. He may use certain experts and authors and doctors. Those sources are not bad. But there's many of them that were not meant for you. Their plan, their program, their doctrine, their rules of human rules were not meant for you and will not work for you. But we've never stopped and asked. Someone recommended the book, so we just read it. It's time to assess, to filter, to use the Holy Spirit that we've been given, to assess our core beliefs, see if there's anything we need to unlearn, so that then we have a fresh slate for the Lord to bring the right truths to us so we can move forward without being held back by those obstacles. Okay, I'll build on this next time. Chew on that for a while, spin it around, ask me questions in the comments, and we'll continue on with a whole series on this idea. Thanks for joining me this week.